Hello, boys and girls. It is story time with Miss Garcia and Pongo. He's down on the floor. He's stretched out down there where it's nice and cool. We're on my deck today. Here's my trees and look at the beautiful sky. All the clouds. There was a whole bunch of clouds earlier, but now they kind of drifted away. We kind of have some, I don't know, they're almost cumulus clouds? Cirrus? I don't really know. They're puffy. Maybe there's a cumulus? Maybe that's what they are. I should remember that, huh? Oh well, let's get back to reading. This story is called Professor Wormbog in Search for the Zipperump-a-zoo. And this is a story written and illustrated by Mercer, one of my favorite authors and illustrators. I love his illustrations. They're so funny. Wow, look at that. Woo! There's Professor Wormbog. Professor Wormbog collected beasties. That beastie's called Fido-la-Gump, and he's from somewhere else. They call him Fido for short. He had every beast from A to Y, but his collection was incomplete. There was no Zipperump-a-zoo in the place marked Z, for the Zipperump-a-zoo had never been caught. Without further ado, Professor Wormbog decided to catch one. This is the only known picture of the Zipperump-a-zoo. I'm going to go back to this page because it has all of the animals in it, or creatures. No, what does he call them? Beasties. Asking for it, Blowfat, Glowfish, Croony, Diddly-dee, Erg, Fido-la-Gump, Great Glern, Heffalo, Icky, Jerfus, Kerplopus, Little Laugh, and if you see down here, Kerplopus and Little Laugh are always running around, Murgatroyd, Norkley, Oliliphant, Peevish, Quandary, maybe Quandy. I don't know what that one is. I don't know what that one is either. Trollisk, Useless, Virikisser, Wizzle, Xenostowurst, Yallapapus, and Zipperump-a-zoo, not in stock. You can see all his beasties around. Looking, there's Icky. He dug a pit both deep and wide. Look at Kerplopus eating the rocks. And I love his illustrations. Look at the fruit. They have faces on them. He covered it with sticks and leaves and baited it with tangos and wild eucananas. Reserved for a passing Zipperump-a-zoo. Please drop in. Thank you. Even the tree has a face. There's an eyeball. All night long he waited. He's in this tree. And look at Kerplopus is now eating the yarn. Silly, silly Kerplopus. In the early morning, a loud crash woke him from his sleep. Rushing down, he hoisted out his catch. But it wasn't a Zipperump-a-zoo. Little Laugh. Perhaps a Zipperump-a-zoo can be found in the sea, thought the professor. With baited hook, he set out in a motorboat. And look at all these funny things on this page. You've got in the tree, you've got all these signs. You want it? I got it. Tackle, worm rental, rent a boat. Burn goo. Everything under the sun. Island Joe Rentals. You can rent a tube and you can rent a pelican. Rent a boat. And then look at the octopus is playing pirates with the, with the big sea monster. So funny. First, he caught a big blowfat glowfish, but he had one already, so he let it go. Then he caught a great glurn of the sea, but he had 2 of them at home, so he let it go. Then something deep under the sea took hold of his line. "This must be a Zipperump-a-zoo!" cried Professor Wormbog. "How fierce it is!" To the worms, expert fishing worms, guaranteed by Island Joe. Fish playing cards. After many long hours, he pulled in his catch. But it wasn't a Zipperump-a-zoo. Look who it is again. "Let's go to work for Island Joe." Who's Island Joe? "Perhaps Zipperump-a-zoos fly through the air," thought Professor Wormbog, and he disguised himself as a feathered croonie. Little laugh sign. "Who's Island Joe? Please don't bother me now." Dangling from a bunch of balloons, he rose rapidly into the sky. Good little laugh stuck tagging along. However, Isabella, queen of the croonies, took one look at the disguised professor and fell madly in love. She took him home to her nest to live happily ever after. Luckily for Professor Wormbog, a storm was brewing. There he is. And then little laughs down writing poetry. "Roses are red and violets are blue." The rain washed away the glue, and the wind blew away the feathers. One look at the professor without his feathers, and Isabella's heart was broken. "Leave," she told him. "Be gone. Depart." Professor Wormbog hiked to the top of a craggy peak and looked and looked. But when the peak looked back, he knew it was time to go. No place for a Zipperump-a-zoo, he thought. Yikes. That's funny. Deep in caves and caverns, beneath the earth he traveled. Perhaps a Zipperump-a-zoo could be found here, he thought. Look at all the funny things. There's cave paintings and drawings. Look at Little Laugh drawing a picture of Professor Wormbog. Special tour, today only. One-way trip to the bottomless pit. One-way trip? How do you get back? Island Joe Travel Company. And look who's working for them. Icky and Kerplopus. They decided to work for Island Joe. Cave paintings. He looked and looked, even in the blackest pit of all. But nothing of interest could be seen. "No Zipperump-a-zoo here either," he said. Nothing of interest? Look at that. There's a band playing. Looks like a trollisk. And look at all these things. Look at all these different weird creatures. Nothing of interest. And look, there says, "Remember, have a burger at Pete's place when you visit the edge of nowhere." Quite disappointed, Professor Wormbog went home. Get Old Kentucky home, my home, home sweet home, your home. Get all these things to read. Makes me laugh so hard to read all these little things. And look at the dog. The dog's eyeing the fire hydrant. There he comes in home. Look at the picture on the wall. It says Mom. It's his mom. Tired and weary, he pushed open his front door. He took off his dusty clothes and jumped into a hot bath. He made a snack of cookies and milk, and curled up before the fire with his favorite book. "Too bad," said Professor Wormbog with a sigh. "I guess I'll never have a Zipperump-a-zoo of my very own." Look at the fireplace has an eyeball. And then here's his book. He says, "My favorite book." Little Laugh is looking at something. What does he see? What does he see in the corner? I see something. And look, Professor Wormbog fell asleep, and all the Zipperump-a-zoos come out to play. So he has a bunch. Look at how many he's got. There's even one up there hiding in the shelf. Coming down the banister, they're playing. Oh my goodness. And he doesn't even know. The end. Oh my goodness, what a silly, silly book, isn't it? I love the illustrations. I just love this book. There's another book called Professor Wormbog and the Gloomy Kerplopus. I don't know where it is. I have to go look for it. But once I find it, I'll read that one to you too. It's really funny. I hope you enjoyed Professor Wormbog. And Pongo, he's still just laying down. He's just snoozing away. All right, boys and girls, have a fabulous day. Bye.